good evening, second time. Thank you very much for the invitation. The Emmanuel Wesley Foundation for Peace started off as a group of people who believed that the world was becoming more angry, more lonely, more unjust, and that there's ways we as local people, and what is termed grassroots, can change that in a small way and hopefully make a big difference in the long run. So around about 10 years ago, or maybe 12 actually, we set up a project in the Wirral. And we believe that there was a lot of people there, even though they may be economically wealthy, some of them, they were suffering from complete loneliness and isolation. And there was also people who were struggling financially and weren't able to access that help and support. And there was also a gap of understanding, because the Wirral where we set up was a place called Thingwall in the centre of, not far from Heswell. And we said we're going to have an international group where we can bring people of all faiths, of all nationalities together to do creative workshops, learn English, help each other find jobs, learn about IT, and support each other. And it was initially, we were very grateful for the council support, Wirral Borough Council. And a lot of people locally thought, you'd be better off in Toxteth, or you'd be better off in Birkenhead, or you'd be better off here. And our response was, there's no better place than anywhere. If we want to bring peace, it happens everywhere, not in one place. And we overcome those challenges, and we overcome the anger and the nasty comments that we did get from people. But we embraced the love that we got from lots of people who came in on a regular basis. And we were able, over those 4 years, to train 600 people who did not just come from the Wirral, but across the Merseyside area, in language, to go on to colleges, in IT, to become independent, and to look for jobs. And more importantly, to go through our creative workshops, where we would bring in material, we would bring in art, and we would allow people that time and space, peace space, to draw, design, make, and share. And with that, the whole theme of listening, understanding, and respecting each other was brought round the table. From there, we were then asked to go to Manchester. And so we were running our place in the Wirral, and we set off on our journey in the centre of Manchester and in an area called Marseille. And there we met some wonderful people who'd lived in the country for so many years but didn't speak English. They were mums of doctors, dentists, lawyers, accountants, you name it. They'd educated their children, but not themselves. So we gave them that couple of hours on a Thursday or a Tuesday to come together, and we learned them English. It was called Creative English. And we learned it through drama. Because if you speak Somali, or if you speak Arabic, or Punjabi, or Hindu, different, what was the other language, Chinese, etc., Italian, not Italian, sorry, Portuguese. Then it's quite difficult to say, learn the alphabet. It was to make it fun. And so we created scenarios that they would come across. How to complain about not getting an appointment in a doctor's, how to get an appointment in a doctor's, how to go to the job centre, how to call the police, and how to, go to speak to your teacher and talk about noisy neighbours. And within that, we made a tree of hope. And in that tree of hope, you're going to do that tonight. You're going to draw your tree, and you're going to put down what is peaceful for you. And on the opposite side, you're going to do a tree of sadness. Rather like those weeping willow trees. What doesn't bring us peace? And we hope that both of those, the sadness one can be overcome and the positive one. And that was a lovely project. And then our journey went on again to Lancashire, to a town of Accrington, which is in the East Lancashire area. A town that was what had the highest casualties, I believe, of people, soldiers who died in World War One. There's a massive big memorial. And they were so desperate for people to live there, it was a mill town, that they invited people from India and Pakistan to come and live there and actively encouraged them in the 1950s and 60s to build up the population. And we came to help a new group of people that was given sanctuary there from Syria. Around that time, Syria was a big war going on. Britain brought people actively over. And we taught them, again, creative English, hope, aspiration, to change their lives. And then we carried on in Liverpool and centred our work mainly in the Liverpool area, in the Central Library. And then we realised that there was some other parts of the community we weren't touching. And it was families with children. And the children needed that good... Well, actually, I'm going to ask Jenny. Jenny, what did you read on that post? Jenny's a good friend here today, who's come from the mill. And she read a little post on the door. And I think it says, yeah. And remember, a few years ago, one child was murdered in Liverpool, around this time. Yeah. And what does it say?
It said, unless we teach our children peace, somebody else will teach them violence.
That's it. And you only told me that tonight. But it wasn't based on that we changed, but we wanted to inspire families to come together and inspire their children. So we brought together children of all nationalities to come together, like we did in the Wirral with adults, and say, children, come together. Sometimes these children never met each other before, didn't know each other, and we brought them together in summer holidays, and Christmas holidays, and the half term, and we've taken them all around Liverpool to explore beaches, the gardens, the environment, places that they may never ever saw before. And we do art activities with them, and we encourage their mums and dads or carers to keep learning with them at home. Small pencils and pens, enjoy reading. So the same love of learning that we try to encourage adults, the love of the children. So all along, it's been peace as our overarching theme. And that's been how we've done the different projects. But I think post-COVID, peace become, for us, a more important thing to concentrate on. Because in our opinion, we've seen the world change post-COVID to a very harsher world. A world that can sometimes be unforgiving, less compassionate, more regulatory, more controlling, and we've forgotten to connect with our world. Whether it be human beings, whether it be animals or nature, we've just focused in on certain targets and certain things. And it's brought about, in many ways, children who leave school with no qualifications, families desperate from house to house, not able to seek the support from the government, which we've looked to for many years. So we've felt that there's a need for us as individuals to help each other, to take that stand, to show that compassion for each other. And that will bring us not only personal peace, but community peace. And one of the things that touched us was school uniform. And the heartbreaking stories of children being punished because they mum or dad couldn't afford a jumper, a pair of trousers. And they don't know why. They don't know why the mum couldn't do it. They don't know why the government have maybe sanctioned them, or they've lost the job, or the landlord's taken all the money, or they're living in temporary accommodation. So, but they they've lost that dignity and they've lost that peace. So we came up with the idea that there's so much waste in this world, and clothes waste is one of them. So we collected together people's clothes that they gave away. We asked certain schools and certain communities, certain churches, can you donate your trousers, your shirts, etc.? And then we came up with the idea, well, instead of just giving them a size 3, size 4, let's learn a skill that they can pass on and that they can carry this on somewhere else. And that skill is helping them recycle. So helping them learn, and Jenny knows this as she's an expert sewer, putting a hem on trousers, putting a button, those skills, making it something fit, helping to take the stain off clothes, and so the uniform is fit and ready to take. So we haven't just been kind by giving them, we've tried to encourage them to peace, so that next year they can prepare for financial problems and be skill ready to have a peaceful life. And that's more important than just in that. And also showing the schools, come on, be a bit kinder, you know. And that's worked quite successfully. And we're continuing on that project right up to Christmas, because another pressure on children is the traditional nativity play. Some schools still run them, and they get letters out and they say, please don't forget to bring your Angel Gabriel. And if you ever go to Asda, it's like, wow, full of them. It's rather like now with Halloween costumes. Full. £10, £10, £10, or the Christmas jumpers. And it's a cost, a time. If you're only getting 180 or 160 pounds a week to feed you and your family, 20 pounds or 30 is a big chunk coming up to Christmas. And you know, every child doesn't want to feel that lost one out. And one of our trustees, he couldn't come tonight because his name's Tony. Now, Tony comes from Liverpool. I'll tell you his story and why it inspired us to help people. Tony in Liverpool was from Norris Green, and his mum was Polish, and his dad was Irish. And his dad's family wouldn't speak to his mum because she's Polish. Nevertheless, she bore him 2 sons, Tony and John. Sadly, Tony's dad passed when he was very young, didn't know him. And the mum had to bring up those 2 lads herself. Single mum, 1950s, on her own, which was quite challenging. She worked and cleaned the priest's house, and she managed to get them a scholarship to a school, some sort of grammar school down the road. But she couldn't afford the uniform. So herself and her mother sewed the trousers. They had to wear short trousers. And when they went to school, the boys started to laugh because they weren't perfect. But the next year she learned and got them near enough right. But that man, he went on, first he was invited to Rome, and he's friends with the Cardinal of the Catholic Church, and he went to Oxford University and graduated in a first-class degree from Oriel College and became a history teacher and transformed many people's lives to go to Oxford from ordinary backgrounds. But the principle was, he told us, we need to help the next generation today. People like my mum who live in Norris Green who can't afford that uniform. And if they don't feel happy in school, they won't learn. And if they don't learn, they'll never realise their opportunities in life. And if they don't realise their opportunities in life, they'll struggle and they'll be stuck in their financial insecurity. And that's what peace is about. Eliminating struggle. Making people feel happy and content. Respecting each other. Respecting the environment. Respecting the way we speak. Having compassion. Having understanding. Having that time to listen. How many people feel that listen too. My friend here said she came here because it's like a community. You have a chance to be listened to. How sad, but that's true. In all the community groups I've been involved in for over 25 years, that's the same story. And there are so many people out there that we need to bring inside and talk, listen, and support each other. And it doesn't really cost a lot. And that goes to the other project, which I don't think Margaret's aware of. And why I love your soup, Margaret, is because we do a slow cooker program with Feeding Liverpool. And we bring community meals. And we ask people of different nationalities to come together, share the food, eat together, talk together, and know each other. And that's a beautiful program, actually, because food is what you did. I loved it. It's the greatest form of peace, because we've all got to eat, and it can bring us together. How often do we? It's not about saying, "Oh, you haven't paid for your school dinner, so you can't eat." You just bring them in, and we eat together. That's what community is about, and love's about. Learning. So what we're planning to do for the next few months is to ask people who have these costumes from Halloween or whatever to donate them, and we're going to fix them up. But we need the community's help because we haven't got the time to fix everybody's costume up. And then we're going to give them out. So we can give out as many Christmas costumes as possible, so children don't have to be the one without the Christmas jumper, and the families can save that £10 or £20, and that it is recycled, and it's not going to the bin or the waste, and we can use bits of material together. But the agreement is they can get it for free if they come to a meeting and they learn the basic skills. And that's a man, woman, anyone can come together. And we're trying to do that project once a week or twice a week one in the Wirral, one in Liverpool, and maybe one in Sefton. And I hope you guys can spread the word around to people to come along, learn these sewing skills, learn how to put them together, and then we can give them out. It'd be lovely to see, just around about the beginning of December, 100 kids with their things. But it's not 100 bought things or bought presents that is taking up the whole, production. It's stuff that's going to be put in the bin. We're going to bring it back to life, which in a sense, isn't that what the story of Christ is about? The resurrection, where we suffer, we pain, come alive again. And I think that's for me what peace is about. We're all going through these painful episodes in life. We're all going through this anger and despair and betrayal. We all have to know that if we work together and support each other, we can actually resurrect ourselves and live again. And it can be, you don't have to have a politician to do that. You don't have to have a millionaire donor. It's our choice to come out, your neighbour, your friend, listen and come together. So as within all our little groups, I've given everyone a piece of paper. And I'd like us to draw on that piece of paper. One person can draw a tree, 2 trees. And on it, I want you to write down words that are peace to you. And then we're going to share it together. You don't have to put your name on it. I'll just read them out. And then we're going to pin them on the wall. And then we're hopefully going to go out of this meeting with some idea of what brings us peace and how we can make that change, each of us together. So I'm going to give you a pen each, a special fine liner pen. Take a piece. And by the way, these are recycled as well. I found them in a charity shop. I think it was donated all stations, hasn't it?
Looking for room for the table.
It's only a small group. If you have a large group, it's one. So draw your 2 trees. Yeah. A little tree, I'll draw one here for you. And you know, he said to me, where did I get this idea from? Well, I grew up in a house that didn't have a garden. So why do I love trees? And actually, now I have a garden. I love a place to garden. This tree came from a lady in Manchester. Just like that. Does anyone need like that? Did that one Oh, shut. So what you do, you write down what brings peace. See, I nearly didn't. See what happened there? I didn't bring peace to this lady because I put stress on her because she wanted to draw. So you have to find a solution and say, part of this. But I'll just tell you what you're drawing. The tree didn't come from me. It came from a lady that ran, I think she's retired now, a race relations centre in Manchester Library where we ran projects. And there was a boy there. Sadly, he was stabbed to death. And I think it's going back 20 years. And people have probably forgotten about it there. And by racists. It's from Pakistan. And the family got money, compensation, and they didn't want it. So they gave it to the library, and they built a little centre there, and it's got a collection of books and literature about how you can cope race relations. And it's in the very corner there. And so she said, I came up with this tree idea to get people to think that trees grow, and they grow good things. And so we want to write good things about ourselves. And so we integrated that into our creative project. So think of the things that make you happy. It could be your family. It could be your dog. It could be your cat. It could be your talent for writing. It could be your talent for computing. It could be your talent for preaching. It could be your talent for healing. Maybe your talent for music. Gardening. Building. Sewing. Cleaning a house. They're your things that make you happy. Everyone has something. Making a cake, making a salad, roast dinner. That brings you peace of mind. And I want us to recognize that sometimes why we don't have peace is that what makes us happy doesn't always make him happy. And that's where conflict comes in. And the key for peace, conflict resolution, compromise. We can never really have everything we want on our tree. But if we have bits of it, or accommodate other people, then that's more of a peaceful world. Is that okay? This is a group of children. They were actually mainly Hong Kong. They came to England. You might not be aware, a few years ago, there's been some confrontation between the Hong Kongers and China. So the British government invited a lot of people to use their own passport to come over. And this is our welcoming. We brought them to Manchester. And we went to the Science Museum to inspire them. They love science. And they didn't know each other, and we ate together in the community park, out in the public. We shared food, we shared experiences, and then we went to the museum. So that was about bringing peace. Many of them now are in secondary school. And Jenny, you know this lady, don't you? This is Natasha, one of the trustees. She helped found the company herself, organisation. But she came from a country you may know around Easter time when you have your chocolates. Ivory Coast, the biggest producer of chocolates. She's a designer, trained in London, but she spends her time now helping other people, women and men, and children, learn about sewing, creativity and art, releasing your pain and your anger through creativity. And that was a little project around Christmas time, or it might have been Easter actually, and we made a little bag. So don't go and buy a bag in Primark, we can help make you one. And that was just out of all different types of recycled material put together and learning the skill of using a sewing machine. And this was a fun. We did this in St. Nick's Church in Liverpool, making pizzas, making cakes and sharing together. There's all young lads there, encouraging them to cook so they don't bother the mum. And the food was donated, would have been wasted. So we used that food together. And this group here was very nice. This was recently. And that was 10 nationalities: British, Irish, Afghani, Pakistani, Congolese, Rwandan, Ivorian, Nigerian, Chinese, Portuguese, so many others. And we all shared and we all had a meal around Easter together. Nothing religious, completely all different faiths, but sharing food together in a community up in Connector, Everton area. Learning to make a meal out of £5 for the whole family. Going to the food pantries, getting good quality food, very cheap. Learning how to not buy packet meals or takeaways, and having a little pot you plug in, uses not too much electricity, and you end up with a healthy meal. And you have a peaceful house because children are happy, well fed, and everybody's together. That's peace as well, isn't it? This is the part I do a lot of. Where's this one? So we were all dressed up and we had our puppets. And that was how we were teaching Esau. So the lady had a bad experience of her hair. He was a doctor. I think that lady was a policewoman. And we all respected each other. And it was good to learn basic English skills. And what the thing about this is, we help train people to go out and do the same thing when we're not there. They don't have to do it connected to us. We can help support them. So I think this lady, these two ladies, run it in Manchester themselves now. We gave them the idea, they did it. And this lady runs it somewhere in Oldham. And that's sharing. It doesn't have to be, it belongs to me or it belongs to us. We can share things with each other if it brings peace. And that's a good way, like we do today. So language, and I know people here are language teachers, is very important. And we do heritage projects in the city of Liverpool there. Down there's a church, and downstairs they have 3 cups of tea. And we brought together a group of people who are retired, and we go and give them tours around Liverpool. And we listen to their experience of coming from Liverpool and how they struggled in the 50s and 60s. And that's a listening project, really. It's quite nice. And then we've done music projects, where we brought children, we train them to sing, can't afford musical instruments, and bring them together. And the most recent one, which I'm doing tomorrow, is our bike project. So if you're around Otterspool tomorrow or on Saturday, we'll be there, and we can help you ride a bike, learn how to ride a bike, fix your bike, and mainly aimed at families who need to ride a bike instead of using the car to go to work. Get on the bike and cycle together. If you're frightened about your little boy or your little girl going to school on the bike, join them. And we even know a place that gives bikes for £50, all done. So because we have to work together, we have to network, and there's a shop just down the road, and he said, I'll try and find £50 bikes, or if anyone else has bikes to donate, give them. Probably haven't got space at the moment, but it's that sharing. So when you invited me, I wanted to tell you what we did, because it wasn't just about, we're not involved in protests, we're not involved in campaigns, but we're involved in action. Getting out there, doing things that can create a peaceful environment for us all. So, I'll take yours, Margaret. Why did Margaret come up? If you don't mind. You can share, Margaret. What to you is peace?
Shall I come?
Yeah, why not?
So, for me, peace is about loving your neighbours, building community, listening to other stories so that we understand even people who we might profoundly disagree with or not have much in common with. Just doing things together, laughing together, community allotments where people can grow things. I think that brings people together. Having a picnic, singing in a choir with other people. Yeah, so that's for me.
Can we stick this on the wall?
Let me have a think about where.
We'll have it on the table.
We can, let me come round here. I think we can put some of them up here.
Would you like to share? Or we can just hold them together. Don't worry. We can hold them together later. Yeah.
I think I've been more specific with Margaret.
So, do you want to come here? I think you have to be on camera.
The mic would be useful. I've got meeting for worship on here, as I'm one of the Quakers, and that's fairly fundamental to just about everything. Having a safe space, somewhere I'm okay to be me. I've got Merseyrail, and on the other side, one of the things that really stress me out is driving on busy roads. So actually, I find public transport actually feels great. So, puzzle solving, a good book, a good walk, warm and wholesome food, thank you, Margaret. And I quite like cooking and shared meals, so I quite like doing sort of producing food en masse. And I put summer school down, which is something I do with 11 to 17-year-olds, and now my two are officially adults. That connection with not just my generation, not just, sort of actually things that make me connected cross-generation, I think are quite important so that I stay in touch.
Fantastic. Would you like to share, Jenny? Come here, you can show you on the camera.
My tree has got loads of branches because I like to think that we need stability in the roots to make the tree grow. So the bits where I would like to see growth in myself is that we have branches, so they denote that there's lots of characteristics in us. I like reading to promote growth. I like sharing my talents, looking for opportunities to help other people, and very tall branches to provide stability to the tree and the roots, and using, I've already said that one, using my personal talents to provide unity, and serving each other in small ways, and the twigs will come off because they show more growth from the branches. Being hospitable and respecting each other. And a little bit that came to mind was I read a little saying, and it said, families are like trees. Their roots need to be deep-rooted in Christ.
Thank you very much. Anyone else would you like to share? No? A friend here, sir?
Me?
Yeah. Pick on you.
Mine things are.
Do you want to come up?
No, I can do it. Not to be up to form. My things are much the same as the others. I find nature and things like that peaceful. I like choirs, plants and the biology of things like that I like, and the natural world. Reading and books is a major thing. Never get tired of. And sort of passive like things like art galleries, museums, things like that. So those are the sort of things I find.
Wonderful. Would you like to share, sir?
Me?
Yes, sir.
Me, I have chosen, first of all, I put silence, because silence brings you peace, and silence which could be lived alone, either with other people, that, for example, the meeting for worship are a very good opportunity for them to share silence, except when somebody talk, but meditation is also very much related. It's either something that you can either do together or with other people or alone. Solidarity, eating together, share food, doing sauna together, and a big fun of sauna is very much relaxing, and it's a good moment of talking, and it's a good contest to share ideas and opinions, because you don't move and you just sweat. And when you are with other people, you are encouraged to exchange ideas and in a relaxed environment. Gardening, and to manage the vegetable garden and to produce as much as it is possible your own food. To listen to music, either together and with other people. To read, of course. To take a walk in nature. To see movies and documentaries together, and the film club is a good opportunity to participate. To travel and to visit friends in their own countries, and mostly in places like UK where there are people from different countries. Then I think it's a good opportunity, if you have some friends here, to go and to visit in his own place. And to pray respecting the different traditions, because there is a kind of universality in the prayer. But then, of course, if you pray, you have to choose which tradition you should follow when you pray. You can also do different prayer, following different tradition, but without mixing. That's it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That's very comprehensive. Fantastic. Would you like to share?
Mine is singing, reading, worship. I like to bake. I love to see. I've lived in the sea, wildlife, water, any kind of water, and music, listening to music, friends, being in the garden, and children.
Wonderful. How about you, sir?
Yeah, so I have, it's probably very revealing, but I have tiny rooms, working hard, playing video games, tidy house, seeing friends and family, Quaker meeting, deep conversations, speaking to homeless people, meditation, festivals and drugs.
Wow. Okay, so last one. Oh no, we haven't had our friend here. You ready?
I'm just on the same, like
you know, singing, sketching, walking, listening, going to mass, church, prayer, art, meditation, listening, music, cinema, film, just all the same, writing, poetry, chatting on the phone with friends, silence, flowers, nature, gardening, yoga, going to the beach, visiting museums, art galleries, solving problems, visiting friends, going to the theatre, going to the hairdresser, helping and escorting others with crosswords.
Problem solving is a nice one, isn't it? Thank you very much. And last, sir?
Love.
Love
Love
show.
gives me peace. I believe peace and love are really the same thing.
That's right.
So you can't get along with it.
No, you
You have to love yourself. Is the first thing.
Yeah.
And we're all on a journey of peace. And that's what I do. I just follow love. And I just other things I like learning new things.
Yeah.
I like kind of researching things and stuff like that. And I like helping people most of all.
Right.
And that's what we call this, is to help people what you've been talking about. I've had my own ideas and I've been helping people for 20 years
Yeah.
as a Christian on the streets and doing it and I live up there. So I know what people need. I know I've been around, I've lived, I've been on the streets for 10 years as well. Every time I walk by a person on the street, I feel it. Because we all have a story and the broken by the system, especially women. Women, all our kids have been taken off them. You know, the most women are broken. And they need to have all, because women are getting enough help. See that. And that's why we have to own and make change. I want to help people. Because when I help people, I have peace. I love. I give it up to get it back. That's all I do. And everyone here showed me love since I came in. Every single person. So I follow love. I don't have a toy. I just look love. I look follow love. And I look on help love. Help people. When you talk about just help people. Respect. Help. That's what I am.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Well, thank you for sharing. So hopefully that's useful. But I want to ask you one question. What did you notice about all of those things that we like and we think brings peace? Is there anything on there that you would see on the news, that you see governments telling you will make you happy? I can't. Most of those things, if big institutions started to listen to you guys, and myself, individuals, maybe we'd have a more peaceful world. Because all I can see is love, as you said, family life, music, peace, quietness, nature. All of those things don't really cost a lot, but we need time and opportunity to do those things and support. So to end tonight, I've been given this poem by my good friend Jenny here, from John Gorman, and I think he was a member of what was then a 1960s band called The Scaffold. And who was the fellow with him, the poet? Roger McGraw. Well, he went to my old school, and I met him when I was that young. And he's a very good talker, far better than I am. And he said his life was quite challenging as a youngster, brought up by a mum on his own in Waterloo, not far from where you live actually. But he made a success of himself. But he said something rather like what Tony said to me, our trustee. Can children today still have that opportunity as they did in the 1960s? And unfortunately, I don't think they can. So why this poem, which he's asked me to read, he can't make it tonight, John. He's very kindly asked to read it, and I've given you each a copy, and share it with your friends. Share those opinions with people. You can do this exercise I've done with any community group or work group, and it can bring them together and start to analyse, not too complicated. So I'll start off. Peace, perfect peace. From the first glint of the morning to the last bloom of day, from the first hint of dawning to the last sun's ray, from the first skylark calling to the twilight owl grey, from the curtain of day falling to the end of my day, I pray for peace, peace, perfect peace. From the first quiet of the evening to the last echo of night, from the last step of leaving behind the bright day's light, in the long hours of darkness, in the weary long day, in the time spent playing, in all this time, I pray for peace, peace, perfect peace. For peace of this moment, peace for all time, for peace of small movement, and for peace for the long climb. Peace, perfect peace. In the while spent wandering, in the spell spent alone, in the walk when wandering, in the age away from home, in the hushed pause of a cloud before it passes on its way, in the crush caused by a crowd, in all of those times, I pray, peace, peace, perfect peace, especially for all children. Thank you tonight for listening. Thank you for inviting. And may you continue to have peace in your life every day. Thank you.
Thank you.